Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. This time we have James Lloyd's 8th place deck list from the Cardiff regional that took place last weekend on Saturday, and once again he was playing Mekk-Knight Invoked. So we've seen him on the channel before, alongside Luke Bennett at the Birmingham regional, so it's cool to see how the deck has been updated since then. So we'll start off by running through the deck list, then we'll get his siding strategy in the rounds, and ask him a few questions about the deck. So we start off with a triple Alistair, a triple Blue Sky, a triple Purple Nightfall, and one Indigo Eclipse, triple Ash, triple Ogre, 2 Veiler, triple Invocation, triple Meltdown, triple Terraforming, triple Instant Fusion, triple Mind Control, 2 Spellbook of Knowledge, 2 Pot of Desires, 2 Forbidden Chalice, this is a little bit unusual, 2 Scapegoat back in the main from last time, and 1 Raigeki. For the extra deck, triple Macabre, 1 Purgatorio and 1 Cositas, 1 Thousand Eyes Restrict, 1 Millennium Eyes, 1 Underclock, we've got a Nightmare Phoenix in here now, a Mrs. Radiant, 2 Link Spiders to go with the Goat tokens, 1 Decode Talker, 1 Sayuja, and 1 Borreload. For the side deck, triple Lancia, triple Gamma Seal, the 3rd Scapegoat here, double Twin Twisters, triple Dimensional Barrier, and triple Solemn Strike, so no evenly matched in the side here. So for siding, James decided that it would be pretty much the same as with the Birmingham regional, so I'll put up a card linking you to that version now. But as summary, Lancia is really good in the Mirror and versus Lightspawn, Kaiju are obviously good against Draco and big Pendulum boards, Twisters versus any back row deck, and so on. In terms of siding out, with Invoked going first, he would be taking out the hand traps and Raigeki, and always putting in the 3rd Scapegoat. And any relevant cards, whereas for going second, you just take out the bits that would be less relevant, like the Scapegoats for going second, less useful in those cases. For the rounds that he played, round 1 he went up against True Draco, easily his worst matchup, he said. He won the dice roll, his opponent won the dice roll and went first, picking up a Masterpiece, flipping an anti-spell in game 1, and basically winning from there. In game 2, James managed to ash his opponent's Desires, and his opponent didn't have much else available, so he basically beat him from there. In game 3 he didn't really remember, but essentially he had more resources and won from there. For round 2 he went up against Bread playing Metal Foes Draco, Swift 2-0 unfortunately against him, being taken out by a really good board in both games 1 and 2 with no outs available for James. He said GG WP. Round 3 versus a Lair of Darkness Infernoid, he went 2-0, nothing worried him there. Round 4 against 60 card 2-0, he says the easiest matchup. Round 5 against ABC, another 2-0, an easy matchup but not quite the easiest. Round 6 he went up against Thomas Rose. Tom won game 1 with some spicy plays. Game 2 James won with some other spicy plays, and then misplays in game 3. Summoning Scapegoat tokens when his opponent plays Invocation, and summons Purgatorio and OTKs through that, which really annoyed James because it annoyed him the most because he'd actually done this to 2 people or potentially more when he was playing at Birmingham. So round 7 against 60 card, he went 2-1. He won his opponent won game 2 due to James bricking, but he still won overall and finished X2, sneaking in at 8th place there. So we haven't got an interview this time around, but I did send James a few questions over Facebook, and he's been kind enough to give us some answers. So firstly, I wanted to ask why he felt like he wanted to play Invoked at Cardiff, given that the format has changed quite a bit since he last played it. He said it was the only deck that he really felt comfortable with at the time. Whilst he does think that its surprise factor has massively diminished, the deck still does what it does extremely well, and it basically just breaks boards. Then the main of this deck looks very similar to the sort of thing that we saw from him and Luke beforehand, but obviously dropping Kaiju from the main, throwing in the Goats and the Chalices especially, a little bit more unusual. So I wanted to know how he found those changes worked out for him. He said the only reason why it changed was due to how popular the deck had been in particular. He knew that he was going to be made to go first quite a lot, so he wanted a reasonable amount of cards in the main that stopped him from dying immediately, which could still also be good going second, so Chalice fits into that slot really nicely. Whereas Scapegoat is just specifically for going first, and it's just extremely powerful in those cases or in low resource games. In reality, he didn't actually see Chalice all day, but he saw Scapegoat and it's still really busted. For the extra deck, you may have seen earlier, there's a Casitas in there, which isn't a typical choice for the deck, so I want to know why he decided to put it in instead of, say, a second Purga Trio, or perhaps some extra Link monsters. He said he chose it due to testing with his friends, one of whom was playing Altergeist, so it's a really hard matchup for the deck. Macabre does very little again in that matchup, but Casitas, on the other hand, is a serious problem for them. And you can use their own water guy, I think it's called Meluseek, in order to make the summon for that. And also it's potentially useful for the Paleo matches. Then in the extra, a couple of changes include the lack of Ningyasu and Ib, but he's trying out the new Phoenix, and he's got Sayudra in here, and just wanted to know if he preferred these kinds of options over what we'd seen previously. He didn't really like the Ib Ningyasu combo. He thinks it doesn't really do enough, especially not compared to a Borreload, which, and it also takes up 2 slots on top of that. Phoenix was insane all day, popping annoying things, forcing things out, and then just being linked away for a decode, and then he'd summon the Invoke guys off it. Other than that, the extra deck itself is fairly standard or fairly similar to the previous versions, so moving on to the side deck. With so many decks needing to banish at the moment, Lancia still seems like an excellent choice. I wanted to know if it proved its worth for him at the event. He said yes, it's still insane, and always has been. Basically wins you the mirror match, especially as that's a tricky one you definitely want it in. Depending on who manages their resources better, Lancia can just steal it. And also it stops the very silly Light Swarm plays as well. Then the next question, why did he decide to take the Kaiju out of the main and put them into the side deck for this event? He didn't really see much True Draco in the build-up to it. He figured that Phoenix would help with that matchup anyway and decode out your Masterpiece problems, as does Macabre with a boost, so really it's the back row that's the most annoying thing for him and not the Masterpiece. So he didn't feel like it was necessary in the main for the event, given that you'd always find a way to work around a big Masterpiece without a Kaiju. Then we see triple strikes in the side. I wanted to know if this was because he needed to change the deck significantly for going first, because obviously he's not putting in evenlies for going second. He said he quite liked the idea of sliding into 3-strike and traps and things, and to be fair it worked really well. Everyone always thought his back row was a D-barrier or a Scapegoat, which means, you know, they'd always think it's just chainable, so they're not going to waste an MST or Twisters on it. So it catches a lot of people out and won him a few of the game 2s. If he did play Mekk-Knight Invoked again, I wanted to know what changes he'd make. He said if he would play it again, he would wait until the Sky Striker cards are revealed, until they come out in the TCG regions, and probably make a variant like that, which could be pretty interesting, but it really depends on what becomes available to us. And the final question, what were his hardest and easiest matchups? His easiest was essentially the free win that 60 card gives you, because the number of hand traps and the Purga Trio pushing through everything. And Pendulums are normally a pretty easy matchup as well, hand traps stopping silly boards, and then being easy enough to dismantle, especially with the fusion access that you have. He says the hardest matchup is True Draco and Altergeist. Trap heavy decks can be a real problem. Shoutouts from James go to his best boy Pete for all the late nights testing on YGO and just for being a G, to Bennett and Owen for testing the day before the event, and for the beautiful night they had out the day before. Was sporting a major hangover all day, and he thinks they all were. Shoutouts to the clique and to the whole list a lot. They did really well over the weekend. So thanks very much, James, for sharing your list and for taking part in this series. Congratulations on taking 8th place with this list. Good luck to you in future events. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.